ChatGPT memory. Can you use this new feature to make money? Well, today that's what we're going to look at. And I think that most people have it wrong when it comes to how to use ChatGPT memory. First of all, what does memory actually do? Is it different from regular ChatGPT? And how is it going to help us make money online? ChatGPT memory is storing each individual chat that you have with AI in a database so that it remembers it for later. This is super important. Why? Because back in the old days, marketers had what was known as a swipe file. This was a list of a bunch of content and ads that we would keep to remind us of things that we can use to make money. And as you can see, these swipe files took a lot to go through, had a lot of content, and without AI, this took years. But now, with ChatGPT memory, it stores everything for you in one go. That's right, it's actually remembering everything you talk about in an isolated instance. And this isolated instance is how we are going to make money. More about that in just a minute. First, I want to talk to you about how ChatGPT memory is going to help you do several things in your business. If you're running a content business, this is a game changer because now we can run multiple sites at once. If you're doing a side hustle where you're helping out clients, this is going to help you big time. It's almost like having your own little AI designed to help one client and get a much faster result so that you can get paid. Or if you're using this for niche websites. Before, if we were running multiple niche websites, we had to change gears, have multiple employees, have different boxes of content and files and folders. Now, everything can be in one ChatGPT instance. So the days of it costing a fortune to run multiple niche websites are gone. Plus, I'm going to show you a secret little tool. This little delete button. This is a game changer when it comes to switching between different AIs. I'll explain what I mean in just a little bit and how I'm using it in my business right now to make money. So if you're excited about the new ChatGPT memory feature, smash the like button. Let's hop in the computer. I'll show you how this whole thing works and how you can use it to build a business starting right now. Come on, let's dive in. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in and talk about how this thing works. First of all, you are going to notice that over here in ChatGPT, under settings, you're going to have several different things. Manage, archive all, delete all, and more. What this is going to do is it's actually going to allow you to archive all of your chats. In this account, which I've been using for many years, actually 2, maybe 3 years fully, we can go through and I can see, summarize what we went over and how I use ChatGPT to make content. And it'll actually go through and it'll look at all of our archives and kind of see what I'm using it for. This is important for 2 reasons. 1, it's going to help you understand what I use ChatGPT for. And 2, it's going to help you understand how the memory works so that you can use it to help clients build your own sites and get paid. Very, very simple. So now we can see that it's got like automation, niche content at scale, visual content, research market evaluation, and all kinds of different things that I'm using ChatGPT for. Now, I'm going to print this list out for you because it's kind of like a cheat sheet for how I'm using ChatGPT to make money. I'll have that over at AIProfitScoop.com for you at the end of this video. Now, we can see it's going on and on. Now, what's important about this is it's actually going through my entire history and looking at all the different things I've asked it over the years and kind of looking at, hey, how does this guy use it to make money? So if you're wondering how I use this, here we go. We'll put these on the notes page. You can see what's going on. Content Factory, Research Partner, Automation System, Design Studio, Coding Helper, and more. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the isolated instances within different projects. So I can actually go over here and create a project like this one for a laptop site, and I can have this do a isolated instance of different articles and things like that. Very important. This is something a lot of people don't know about the way that I use ChatGPT. We actually have a group account here, this little diamond logo. And in the group account, I have all of my outsourcers and they have their own accounts. Now, because they're doing content for me, they're all over the place making content about everything from how to ride a skateboard to how to make money to why mortgages cost so much. they're doing everything. So it's all over the place. What we want is we want an isolated instance. This is where you're going to get in and be able to manage multiple clients' websites. So what I did this morning is I actually went through and made a new account under my group settings. So if I go here and hit manage workspace, you're going to see that I can have all different people here, different members. Of course, they do cost me $20 a month each, which I think is a drop in the bucket to have someone manage your site. Obviously, you have to pay the outsourcer as well, or you could do this on your own. So what I did is I set this one up for myself. And what we're going to see here is this one is actually set up right here. So I can log in right like this, and I can use this one specifically. And what I did is I went ahead and added some different articles and things like that. So I said, make an article about belly fat, make an article about this, that, and the other. And this is all isolated for one website. And you can see it's going through and making all kinds of different content and things for me. We also had nutrition and different things like that. Now, what I can do is I can actually go through and open a new chat and say, summarize what we have talked about here in these chats in this account. And it should be able to summarize it. If it doesn't, we're going to have to change our settings here. But it looks like it actually is. It's talking about style and fashion, fitness and nutrition, and different things like that. And what you can do is you can actually use ChatGPT memory to remember things that you want it to know so that you can recall them for later. For example, let's say I wanted to go through and have maybe this is for transcripts and I want to have it make blog posts out of transcripts, or I want to get a sales page. I could actually go through, I can open up a new chat and I can say, tell me about online, spell this right, online sales tactics for sales letters and VSLs. And it'll go through and it'll do that. And I could say, now please recall what we talked about sales and adapt it to this blog post or adapt it to this website or come up with other content methods. Or I could even program it and ask it about different websites, businesses, and things like that. Very, very important, because when I go through and I start a new one, I can say, reference the online sales tactics we went over and apply them to the bicep exercise report we made. And it'll actually go through and it'll adapt this to the report we made. It'll remember that, and it'll remember the chat we just had. Now, as we saw earlier, yes, this is going back years in our chat history. So if you're managing a website, you can have it all in one isolated account. This is why I brought up the delete button. We're not going to use it to actually delete the thing. We're going to use it to create a new account to go from there. So if you have an account that you've used for all kinds of things, archive it and then start a new one, or refresh it if you don't have that much in it, you don't mind losing it, so that you have an isolated ChatGPT for each business you're running. Imagine the implications of this. This is game-changing stuff, because now we can see it is going through and doing the work based on what we wanted. So being able to basically have all the stuff in one area, give it different settings, you don't even really have to know how to prompt anymore. You just need to know what stuff is where and how to build it. So what we're going to do is something very, very specific. Let me open the whiteboard here and show you what I mean. So imagine for a minute what you're doing is you have a custom ChatGPT account. Again, it's going to cost you $20 each. I would do a shared account with maybe one of my outsourcers and employees. And then what I would do is I would have a setting that I load each account with. So maybe I'd go through and get some sales letters in my niche, feed it to it, get the feedback and the overview of what that looks like. So in workout niche, here's the sales letters that are doing well, getting a bunch of traffic, converting really well. Again, I go through and say, here's another setting. Let's now talk about the affiliate offers or the promotions I can use. Great. Now let's get content in the niche, see what the content looks like. And what you're doing is you are training this one $20 a month ChatGPT on all of the stuff in your niche. Now when you go through to write content, it's going to do a much better job. Also, what we can do is we can hide some outliers or some hints or shortcuts. Those outliers or hints or shortcuts would be what your spin is on the market. So let's say, for example, I'm doing startup business ideas. And what I want to do is I want to have startup business ideas that fit the mold of costs less than $500, don't take a bunch of experience, you don't need a college degree or whatever, and that would be my spin. Or maybe with weight loss, your spin is working out 2 minutes a day helps in the long run or something like that. Obviously, I don't know much about working out, as you can tell, but looking at this and understanding, okay, we're going to have our spin where we're going to take each content and have a purpose that we're going to do. Maybe it's checklists. Maybe you're making checklists in the market. Maybe it's printables. Maybe it's worksheets or something like that that you're going to train it on. And what you're going to do is you are going to train your ChatGPT on this info and this info alone. And when you go through, it's going to self-train itself by getting different info. So going through and looking at, okay, here we're going to have workouts, and now we're going to make reports on workouts. Now we're going to look at different ads in the workout niche, and boom, it's going to be like having a professional PhD level person in your niche. It's going to understand what your market wants. It's going to understand what they like to read, how they like to read, what the reading level is, what the article should be structured as, and how the SEO will work. This is super important because when we go through and use this, now you have your own trained ChatGPT. This works for yourself, for side hustles, for niche sites, for content, the whole 9 yards. So what we're going to do is we're going to have projects versus new accounts. If I'm going to do this for clients, let's say a client comes to me, they pay $1,500 a month. My job is to take their podcast and turn it into blog posts. All right, I could go through, say, okay, here's the transcript of the podcast, turn it into a blog post. Now, as we go through, let's say I do 2 a week. At the end of the year, I'm now going to have 100 podcasts that this isolated AI was trained on. So I spend $200. I'm charging them to build the content, and now I'm training the content to get them other stuff. I can offer other services. I can create a book around the content. And again, the power of having this isolated is key. Up until now, the only isolated instance AI that I've seen was Notebook LM. The problem with Notebook LM is it doesn't create things outside of the instance, which is important because I can go here, I can create an article based on what I feed it. Boom, it's in its own box. With ChatGPT, now it's all isolated on what I trained it, and then it will go get more info. This is absolutely key because now I'm limitless. I could do whatever I want, and I can have all kinds of stuff based on where I'm directing it. The way you're going to make money with AI is how you direct it. That's what a prompt is all about. It's directing the AI to get what you want to get and leave out what you want to leave out. A lot of people are talking about the get, but not the leave out. I want to isolate it and use it for what I want specifically. Also, we can use this for voice brand and consistency. Maybe I started out and I say, what would be a good voice brand for this podcast about eating oatmeal or whatever it is? We're going to get that, and boom, there we go. Also, we're going to have an isolated swipe and content file. Everything you find, throw it in your ChatGPT. Get feedback on it. Hey, what do you think about this link? Break it down. Talk about their structure. Hey, what do you think about this website? Break it down. Talk about their content structure. It's going to build and grow. Now, before we get into how to use this to actually make money and our evaluation over here, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about our disclaimer, because what you're going to learn here is super powerful. It will make me money. I'm going to use this to make money. I'm going to have my students and my clients use this to make money. I'm going to have my employees and outsourcers use it. This is big. But I want you to remember that this is a business. As with any business, there is risk, there is reward. The average person trying to make money online makes nothing. That is a fact. Most people make nothing. I think you're going to find that this information will be helpful. But don't look at it as a guarantee. ChatGPT is not just going to go fill your bank account. It doesn't work that way. But what you're going to learn here can work for multiple things. First of all, let's take a look at what we have. We can use this as an agency. We can go through and do content for businesses and get paid. People are doing it on Fiverr. People are doing it right now. I do this in my business. I have a content business we talked about last week. I'll put the video in the description. We can also use this if you are a content creator. You can go through and load this with transcripts of your videos and get a voice and get ideas and have it actually do a lot of the work for you. Obviously, you're going to put your own spin on it. You're going to add to it. Your job is to direct the AI to get something custom that other people don't have, which is what this memory feature is all about. So if I train this on the type of content I want, how I want it laid out, how the SEO would work, Everything like that, we now have everything that we can use. Much like I trained my employee to go through and make notes on my videos, the AI can now do that and can recall other notes, piggyback on it, and even recall other videos to link to. So it could go through and say, now based on all our chats, have a related article section for the bottom of this one. And it'll go through and it'll have a related article with all the other articles we wrote. Really cool. And I can even say, now make them juicy so that it gets people to click. And it actually did, right? Get ripped, six-pack abs, fitness apps. These would be things that we can add to our blog, thus making more internal links, getting people on our site longer, and making us more money because more people are on our site, the more links they're going to click, the more things they're going to buy, the more money we will make. This is all about engagement. And look, it actually went through and linked to the 10 articles. Very simple. I can copy and paste this on the blog, change the links, and bada bing, bada boom, there we go. I can also go through and have what we call like a cheat sheet where I go through and I say, now let's make a guide on my blog. I am using this for domain.com or whatever your domain is. Please remember this when making other links. And it'll go through and it'll do that for us. Not too difficult. And what we're doing is we're training the isolated instance, and it's going to go through and do all the work for us. Now, we can also use this as a content side hustle where you can go through and make content for different businesses, build that business up and make it work. Podcasts and video people. You can go out there and find video people and basically train your own AI so that it doesn't take you that much longer to make more content for them. You throw in the transcript, it knows and references the memory of what you wanted, the voice, the style. It remembers everything and kind of becomes like another arm of what the person is doing. We can also do this for SEO. You can go out there and find local SEO clients, train it on their services, train it on what they're doing, train it on their website as it is, and boom, there you go. One of the things I like to use this for is actually running multiple niche sites. I can have a different account for my dental service website, for my podcast website, for my content business website, for all the different things that I'm running. This makes it really easy because now I can go through and add things at the drop of a hat without having to go back and remember and find a file and go get it. The AI is going to do it for us. This is the power. Not a lot of people are realizing it. So when it comes to our money-making assessment, money-making potential, I'm going to give it a 4. We have to go out there and do the other step, which is like posting the content, selling the content, getting the clients and stuff like that. Development difficulty, I'm going to give it a 0. Let's give it a easy one. I think that's easy, right? Implementation cost, there is a little bit more cost. Like if I have 10 clients, it's going to be $200. I have to have a different instance for each client. So that is going to be a little bit high. Now, primary way to monetize. I'm going to do charge directly, yes. Upsell premium, lead gen, yet all of them. Who would pay for this? Content creators, businesses, and money makers, like people who want to make money. We can help them with client content and stuff like that. Use cases. Can we use it for content creation? Yes. Can we run a marketing agency, advertising agency? 1000%. Can we do automation? Yeah, I could use this and say, now make 5 emails on the best content that you think people would open. Boom, there you go. Automation and efficiency, 100%. Research and analysis, 100%. E-com, not so much. Customer service, yeah, you could train this on, it's basically training your own bot on your own content. So essentially I can tie into the API and make that work. That's a more advanced tactic, but I could give access to this to my customer support person and say, hey, if someone comes on, link them to the articles it tells you. And then they just use that to do support, which would make them more efficient, make me more money, and I can pay them less, which is easy, right? Next, customer service, yes. Educational, 100%. Productivity, 1,000%. Now, the creative money-making ideas that I'm going to use this for me personally, I think the key is going to be taking existing content and turning it into other stuff. Multiply, right? Because now I can go through and I can use this, build it and create in an isolated way and have it all there to where I can go further. Now I can create a sales letter that everyone would want. Now I can create content based on X, Y, and Z. If I'm coding okay, what are some other codes I can add to my site? If I'm building, what are some other contents I can add to my site? What are some affiliate offers? And these are the things that we're going to put in our new account, right? Going through and looking at this, I can train this new account and say, okay, now we'll do this. Very, very cool. It looks like it got a different language there. Kind of interesting. Not sure how it did that, but we could go through and we could say, ChatGPT, now please find affiliate offers on the content we made so far. Okay, and usually it doesn't care if I have capitals, so we're okay. Now it's going to go through, doesn't have access. Okay, so I think we might have switched. So let's see. Let's go back to our memory here. There we go. We'll use this one. Now find affiliate offers for all our chats so far. So for whatever reason, this one did not go back into the memory. Not sure why. Maybe it's GPT 4.0. Not sure. So go through. Here we go. Copywriting affiliate offers. Okay, so that's that one. I think we had, let's see, fitness tools and tech. So that's the summary of all the chats. Online sales. Okay, so that's got that. Sales tactics for fitness. Fitness fashion over. Okay, here we go. So this is showing us the different affiliate offers we can use, and it categorizes them, which is really cool. So I can have it categorize it, make it a Word file. Boom. There we go. Pretty good. Like TRX, that's a pretty popular thing people use for working out at home. Titan, and it's showing what they pay and where to sign up. So it's kind of doing all the work for me, and it's remembering all those chats, which is good. Now make an article selling, let's do TRX, and use it for the article that best matches. And it'll go through, it'll find the article that best matches, tie it in, and then I can update that, which is cool. So now it's like, okay, why TRX's training is the best investment. Cool. So it's going to go through and do that for me, which is great. And going through and having this isolated is what's key. Hopefully you're understanding. If you are, let me know as a comment below that you understand the power of having the memory. This is something I am definitely going to use. I'm going to take content and multiply it. I'm going to use it to understand my content. It's kind of like having someone read your entire blog, your entire video archive, podcast archive, and make it work. For this, I'm going to start using it right now. I love this tool. I think it's fantastic. For me personally, I am going to have several different ChatGPT accounts with my outsourcers and use that to build and grow. And I think using this for your side hustles, for your businesses, absolute game changer. So hopefully you enjoyed this video on how to use ChatGPT memory to make money. Smash the like button if you did. Watch the videos in the description and let me know what you think as a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.